Welcome to my daily review. Today is Wednesday, May 21, and you're taking a look at the daily chart of the Nasdaq, which fell 270 points today, or 1.4%. 27% above the average volume. We know that that's being skewed by those penny stocks that are being, traded. Anyway, I don't want to get into the volume. It's not that important. This is expected behavior from the Nasdaq that we're seeing. Last week, it rallied seven and a little over 7%, 7.12%. So for it to give back, so far this week, 1.76%, that's expected behavior. I wrote a sticky note on my computer saying we expect the Nasdaq to pull back this week, so trade accordingly. And so that just means, I'm just being a little more cautious this week, not being so reckless with buying stocks and maybe trimming some stocks. And I'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, you can see the Nasdaq. I've got this on the 10 today. Pull back to the 10, 18,780. You can see the low today was 18,799. So almost kissed the 10. Maybe it'll do it tomorrow there. It'll be a lot higher than 780 tomorrow because it's rising, what, 20 points a day? So call it 1880 tomorrow. It closed at what? 18,872. So a little, dip in the morning. Now, today there was a bad 20-year bond auction, bonds. There's just there needs to be a reason. People need to find a reason for the Nasdaq to come down, but it was going to come down. It was due for a pullback after that 7% rally last week. But I just wanted to show here. Yeah, the Nasdaq here. This is a Tuesday where it gapped lower, then kind of fought its way back, and then today it gapped lower and then made it high above all the recent highs here. You could see 19,227, 19,220, and today it rallied up to 241, and then the the auction and whoop, there's the old okey doke, the rug pull into the close, and so it was the bad auction was the reason today, but. It just a pullback to the 10 is normal. It's still holding this, shelf type pattern here and doing nothing wrong. I would like to see it, find support there at the 10 though, I will admit, and just trade sideways. That's fine for this week. I just, pointed out that's down 1.76% this week after rallying, pretty hard last week, 7.12%. What, 4 weeks ago? It rallied 3.42% and then gave back, a little bit. Last week rallied, 7.15 and then gave back, so far 1.76. So, stepping our way higher. This looks like a V-shaped rally. You just got to be patient here. It's not going to go up every day or every week. But I like the way the Nasdaq is behaving, and it's being, trading according to plan essentially. And a pullback to the 10 is not a big deal. We want to see the 21 here rally through the 200, and if things just go sideways, it'll do that eventually. Anyway, I'm going to get to some stocks because I trade stocks. I just wanted to point that out on the Nasdaq today, and you're going to see a lot of the stocks that were doing okay today kind of sold off at that time. Anyway, last night, I'm going to get to some of the earnings reports. Palo Alto Networks reported earnings. They do the same thing every quarter. They beat, they report a strong quarter, and they beat, and they guide to, they sandbag their guidance. They guide somewhere there where they can beat the following quarter. It's very well-run business, very steady, very mechanical by these guys. So you can, set your clock to these guys. They're gonna beat next quarter, and they're gonna sandbag guidance. 14, 12, 14, 14, 15% sales growth. Not bad. Pretty strong for, a company of this size, 120 billion. This quarter, they increased EPS from, 11% last quarter to 21%. The stock just pulled back to its 50 and then got rejected here at the 200 and is trading in between. It fell, what, 6.8% today. And it suffered the same fate here as it sold off in the morning. Then buyers came in, buyers, and then that dip where you're going to see every stock dip today at that time. pretty much every stock. It's kind of a knee-jerk reaction. Modine, this one was up big time last night and after hours, but when the regular session hit today, man, it came up to that 200, got rejected and closed at the lows of the day, the 3% of the daily range, down below its 21 there. And if you want to take a look at a 5-minute chart of Modine, there it is. Open up the old okey doke. Yep, we're going higher. Oops, no, we're not. And man, closed at 93.26 after trading up to what, 108 this morning. That's quite a haircut. Toll Brothers, they reported an okay quarter, I guess. I mean, negative sales growth, 4% EPS growth. That not the real type of growth profile I look for in a stock, but it just traded flat and nothing burgered for Toll Brothers. Keysight, now they reported a quarter and they were up big this morning as well, and then closed down just flat on the session, but flat's pretty negative when yeah, we're up here at 170, what's 175 in the morning, 174.50. Yeah, and then closing at 162. That's kind of a headache, isn't it? I mean, if you own the stock, at 174.98, so it hit 175 and then sold off. Anyway, that was the earnings reports from last night. I want to get to some of the earnings report this morning. Lowe's reported. This is again, a single digit, you know, grower or negative either way. It's just that's one of those slow, widows type stocks. Same with Target. They paid the big dividend, but man, this thing was down 5%. And I had a friend asking today, is Target going to go to zero? So I hope not. This thing is really taking it hard here, man. I don't know where the bleeding stops, maybe $80 or so, but this is getting to be, if you look at, this, if I go here to track the price, I mean, it hasn't been at these prices, $93 since what, 2020, that the COVID crash. So yeah, Target got to get it together. I mean, they have, once again, negative, these red sales growth numbers, 12% EPS growth. And like I say, EPS can be manipulated in a variety of ways. So I don't look too much into that. Okay, one retail stock that did have a good day today was Canada Goose. 20% move here above the moving average for the, I guess they make the down jacket kind of company, up 74% EPS growth, 7% sales growth for the Goose, man. That's in a clear downtrend forever and a day. Wow. All right. Who else reported this morning? Oh, Medtronics. That was yeah, not good. Down 2%. TJX, which has been a strong stock. Another retail name, pulled back to its 21, down nearly 3%, like, a lot of stocks were today. When the Nasdaq's down, nearly 2%, a lot of stocks are going to be down 3, 4, 5%. All right. Who else do we have today? Oh, this one was a disaster. Du jour. Wix down 16%. Slowing sales growth, slowing EPS growth. For a growth stock, the slowing growth is kind of death. So down 16% for Wix. And the last one is another retail name, VFC, VF Corp, down 15%, another haircut here, below the moving averages. All right, I'm going to move on to some of the leading stocks that I own, stocks that I want to own, stocks that I like. And if you just look at this one, take a step back here with HIMS. It was down 5% today, down 10% for the week. But if you look at, the recent action here over the last few weeks for, HIMS after the earnings report, it was up 40%, 45%, then 27% last week, up 24%. So for it to give back 10%, I mean, not a big deal. And you could look at the weekly chart, an inside week. But if you're trading this, as a swing trader, you're saying, wow, this thing's making lows from, it's taking out lows from, May 16th, that's no good. What the heck? I would say that low right there, 53.70, if it doesn't hold that, that is no bueno. But it just pulled back to its 10 today. A lot of the leading stocks are pulling back to the 5. This one pulled back to the 10, 57.27, almost got there, just a little kiss. It's below there after hours. Yeah, to me, I said this yesterday or the day before, this thing could go either way, and it looks like it wants to go south to me. Uh, you know, The 21's not that far away at $50. That would not surprise me at all. All right. What else do we have here? Oh, Robinhood. This is one that I added to today. Not, longer term, I don't know where it's going to go in the short term. Longer term, I think, Robinhood is just in an IPO base here. It's up, 30% this month. You can see that's a nice IPO chart. And then this base here, it's up, 3.4% this week, while the Nasdaq, I don't know what I said it was down, nearly 2%. So it's outperforming, but it just rallied up to that old high there of 66.91 and then pulled back, and that's to be expected. Yeah, 66.89. So if it just handles out here, and a lot of stocks are looking like this, a lot of these leading growth stocks, like they just need some time to form a handle. I just showed you Hims, that one needs some time. Robinhood needs some time. So, if they just go sideways the rest of the week or down a little bit, that's no problem. CoreWeave, this thing was a monster today up 19%. I trimmed some today at what, 101. I thought I was a genius, and it rallied right up to 109. I thought I was an idiot, but I'm not going to buy it back. It was a good trade. I still have some, but I expect it to pull back to that 100 number and have a little bit of trouble there. We'll see what happens. It could go to 150 the way this thing's trading. Very strong stock. Uber. Yeah, this one's pulling back here. Like a lot of these names, they need to form a handle. This will, probably pull back to the 21 here, which is what 85.35, and give us a chance here. The buy point's at 87, but you don't have to rush in here. We know that the Nasdaq's pulling back this week. Let them come in, let them form a handle, let them pull back to moving average and wait for the bounce here. There's no hurry. This thing has been consolidating a long, long time. You could see base on base pattern here with the Uber. So just, give it some time. This week is definitely the digestion back and fill week. Palantir, another one that I like. Looked like, if I go to the 5 minute, this thing was doing okay this morning here, which is this the 21st. Yeah, rallied up at the open. Looked like it was going to make a nice move. And then all of a sudden, whoop, there goes the rug pull, and it ended up down $5 or 4%. But once again, just needs some more time. That high in the handle is 133.49. It's got the standard buy point there at 125.25. So just give them some time. Rocket Lab. These are all the stocks that are on my relative strength list, and I'm sure they're going to be falling off, so I'm going to have to change the criteria a little bit just so I can get to those 25 stocks at least that are showing strength. 20 to 25 stocks. Rocket Lab, above moving average, yeah, down 3% today, just like everything else. Let me see, SE, another one. So this type of action here, this one is actually flat today, up 0.5%, but just going sideways, allowing the moving averages to catch up. And if I shift it to the 5, which I should for these leading growth stocks, and see if they get support at the 5. Yeah, that's SE just going sideways, and the 5 has caught up there. I'm not saying I would buy that there because I think the Nasdaq has more work to do on the downside, but SE is definitely looking like a relative strength monster. Duolingo, I did not look at this one today at all. I was kind of busy, but undercut the 5 there today. Yeah, down 2%. And Spotify, I think, did the same thing, right? Pull back a little bit, 2%, still 643. That thing's been a monster. GEV, this one needs a handle. Been talking about, man, this thing just wants to go higher here. It won't pull back. Maybe that was the handle there, that 3 days where it pulled back to its 5. But man, these last 3 sessions, I mean, the Nasdaq I just showed you is down like nearly 2% this week. This is up nearly 6%. This thing just does not want to go down. That's really the only energy stock that I'm interested in right now, because I don't want to get too exposed to that sector, and so that's the leading stock in the sector. So that's my rationale for GEV. What else do I have? Oh, Credo. I think I showed this one yesterday, maybe not. But once again, just coming back to the 5, kissing the 5 there. We'll see if it finds support and moves higher soon. App 11, I think I put this on my ready list. just forming this little bull wedge pattern as it pulls back to its 5. The 5 is 361.50. It just closed a tick below it today. That one looks good to me. I like that little wedge pattern, gently pulling back to a moving average. And app 11 IONQ, these quantum computing stocks been kind of hot this week. IONQ undercut its 5. I doubt if, I won't speculate. Groupon, another strong stock, just trending with its 5. Looks very good. MicroStrategy, with Bitcoin trading at 109 today, I expected MicroStrategy to take off, and it didn't. It didn't do anything except go down 3%. Yeah, I was really disappointed when Bitcoin was rallying. This thing, yeah, it was going sideways, and all of a sudden, the rug pull with the 20-year auction, the evil 20-year auction. Netflix, leaders lead, and that's what this thing's doing. Just surfing the 5, one of the stronger stocks in the market, just like GEV doesn't want to go down. And CoreWeave, NRG, this is another utility energy play. And this one finally went down today, what, 2%? And still closed 156.01 is the 5, so just a tick below it. That one looks fine. Dave's not home, man. This thing made a new high today and then pulled back. Very nice on Dave. Dave doesn't get enough volume here. You can see having a nice day and then the rug pull into the close. It was over 200. Yeah, 201. Yeah, it just doesn't get the volume that fit the profile. So I don't trade Dave. SEZL was having trouble with that 100 number and did it again today. It rose up to what, 104.10, and then the rug pull like everything else, right? Yippee, we're having a great time. All of a sudden, whoops, uh-oh, there's the old okie doke. See you later, SEZL, and it's just right back to that 100 level. So, it's a psychological number that investors, do they want to pay $100 for this stock? And that's something that, will be decided in time. CrowdStrike, this is one that I had on my ready list today or this week. And once again, with the Palo Alto numbers, it was kind of ignoring it. It's got this little pennant type pattern here, which I like. It was down 1.7%. It was up during the session. Looked like it was really going to rally. It sold off at the open with the Palo Alto data. And then, buyers came in. It was really rallying up like $6, $7. And then, the 20-year auction hit, and, everybody's got to go home crying today. And so anyway, that's the nature of the beast. RBRK, this thing is just relentless, wants higher prices, made a new high today at 89.84, then just pulled back to its 5, just surfing the 5. It's like a magnet here. Just pulls back every day, it seems. So Rubric trading really tight with the 5. Likes higher prices, 17 billion now. I think when I started talking about this, it was like 10 billion. So it's added 7 billion to its market cap in this little short period of time here. So good for the Rubric longs. It's got the growth profile that I like. Yeah, so yeah, I own that one. DoorDash, this is one that I like. I got to show the monthly. Robinhood, Bros, and DoorDash, these monthly charts, I like them. I like them a lot. There's DoorDash and Bros and Robinhood. Same thing. These three to me are just getting started in the world. But DoorDash, I got to go back to DoorDash. Yeah, up 6% this month, up 1.3% this week, but you can see it's still consolidating in this double bottom base pattern. You can see the buy point's 201. Do I have it on my ready list? No, I don't. I should. It's just surfing the 5 here, pull back to the 5 today, which was what, 202.17. Yeah, the low is 201.50, and it bounced slightly. So, man, I should probably put that one on. It's just I have a lot of stocks on for a week that I think the market's going to pull back. I have a lot of growth stocks on, and they're probably not going to be ready until next week. And a couple other names that I like that are a little more defensive. This is Rowe, just kind of flat today. Even this defensive name, sold off with the market today at the at 10:15 time, or 1:15 Eastern time, 10:15 my golf time. And then AGX. Yeah, just this thing needs a handle. This is what a lot of them look like, right? They come up to the old buy point. They need to handle out. A lot of these look like this, GEV, same thing, right at that handle. And they just need some time to handle out. So let the market do its thing. Don't be too hasty. You don't have to jump in right away. Probably won't be till next week or even the first week in June until these things get rolling again. But for me, these setups, these bases tell me the market's going to go higher, eventually. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but these bases are not all going to fail. Some of them will be successful, some of them will fail. But anyway, I got to look at a couple other names that I told you not to ignore the gold stocks. And these are kind of defensive by nature. And when the Nasdaq goes down, well, this thing's popping up, right? So Agnico Eagle Mines up 8.6% this week, undercut the moving average there, the 50, and has rallied back through it. That one looks pretty good. WPM, another Canadian mining stock, undercut the 50. And what is it doing this week? So I took these all out of my leading stock list, and I'm going to have to put one back in, up 8.6% this week. And that's just the market. I mean, that's the way it goes. Yeah, gold is resurging. DRD, Dr. Gold, DRD gold up, yeah, nearly 8% this week. So gold is making a resurgence. Uh, some of the defensive names, I got some questions about, the defensive names. GE to me is kind of my favorite in this group, although I have to admit, How I Met Your Mother, just a really super strong stock, and I'm a sucker for this trend. But if the trend bends at the end, you got to get out of there. So that, I want to be buying this thing up here. That one has been showing strength, as well as Curtis Wright made a new high today, then pulled back to the 5. That's fine. Some people asked me about LHX, which I don't know, might get the Golden Dome contract. I don't buy stocks hoping that it gets a contract. I mean, I think that's faulty thinking. If it gets a contract, great, and it rallies, great. You could buy it after the news. But if it doesn't, then you're going to get hammered. Lockheed Martin, yeah, that thing's under all the moving averages. I think you could do better here. I just showed you some names. This is this is killing me. This dictation thing on my computer. Killing me. You're killing me, Smalls. What was the other one I wanted to show? Raytheon, the old Raytheon. RTX, yeah, this one, once again, consolidating in the base, getting near that buy point and just pulling back a little bit to its 5. So, like I say, these aren't all going to fail. And, give them some time to form handles. And some of them are going to take off. Some of them might fail, but I like the looks of those. And then the semiconductors have been resurging. AMD, had that low of what, 78 on the, I don't want to get into it. It's rallied off the lows. Pull back near its 5 EMA of 113.22, close a tick below it today, but still looks pretty good. You saw that the short-term moving averages have rallied through the 50. Now they got to get through the 200. NVIDIA, another one that I had on my ready list last week, now just going sideways here. Closed near its 5, 132. Yeah, not bad. Broadcom, I think it's a little stronger than those other two that I just showed. Yeah, consolidating within a base. That one looks good. Trading tight within a base, right at the moving average. I'm a sucker for that, but I'm not going to put on any more stocks this week. It's getting late in the week, and yeah, the Nasdaq looked like it just wants to pull in a little bit and give us some better prices. ALAB, I get asked about this one a lot. Yeah, you can see the 5 has rallied through the 200, and the 50. The 21 rallied through the 50 2 weeks ago on this date right here. All right, May 7th, so roughly 2 weeks ago. Exactly 2 weeks ago, and now today you can see that the 21 is about to rally through the 200. So the short-term moving averages are rallying through the longer-term moving averages. This thing trading tight within a base near its 5. To me, that looks good to me. I would put this on my ready list, but if the market was doing better, but I expect some more weakness in the, some more pullback. Like I said, when the Nasdaq has been up so much, I would expect a little more give back than just 1.5%. All right, that's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up, except in honor of the great Steve Jobs. Stay hungry, stay foolish, stay humble, and pay attention to earnings reports. Snowflake is an AI play up more than 6% after hours. It's got this cup with handle just pausing. See, that's what you want to see. Now, you don't want to buy ahead of an earnings report, but this is what you want to see, this tight type of trading, just a shelf. Investors, happy paying whatever it is here, 175 for the stock, and now after hours, 190. So yeah, good for Snowflake long. That's a nice, base on base pattern. And yeah, Snowflake looks fine. Snow is one that I do like. What was it? Oh, Zoom, the old Kathy Wood stock. I don't know if symbol's not recognized. I'm using Zoom, but the symbol's not recognized on Market Surge. Isn't that strange? Okay. Market Surge is weird that way sometimes. Urban Outfitters. Another one of these, consolidation near a buy point, then it pulls back like 3 or 4 days here. Probably pull back to the 10. I'm not going to change it, but it's up 10% after hours. And the retail game has been really tough lately. Those retail restaurant stocks have been absolutely murdered, along with the drug stocks and the solar stocks. And a lot of the retail stocks have been hammered too, but this one's hanging in there. We'll see what it does tomorrow. We've seen a lot of stocks trade up and after hours and then get wiped out. It's not going to recognize Zoom for me. Oh, you know why? Because they changed. Yeah, yeah. What a dumbass. All right. Consolidating within a base here. Yeah, up slightly after hours. This is the one that Kathy Wood thought was going to, solve all the world's problems, but didn't work out that way. Just consolidating in a base. Look at long term. It was a big winner off, the COVID. And then once COVID hit, it was just, yeah, done. Adios, muchachos. All right. ADI. Got to remember the ticker symbols here, folks. All right, this is a cup with handle pattern. They're going to report tomorrow morning. We'll see what happens. It looks good going in, and we've had some pretty decent reports from that group. So we'll see what happens with the ADI. BJ Wholesale reports in the morning. We'll see what happens there. Like I said, the retail's been hit and miss. I want to see how Costco's been doing. We heard from Target today. It was a brutal mess, very bloody mess. And then Walmart, sideways since its reports. We'll see what BJ has to say. AAP Advanced Auto Parts. Those of you who are repairing your vehicles instead of buying new ones, we'll see what they have to say. And then Ralph Lauren, another retail name, reporting tomorrow. There's a nice cup pattern. Probably needs a couple more days for a handle, but maybe it'll just want to blast out of there. That's a nice looking chart for Ralph Lauren. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up. Uh, don't worry. Let these stock prices come in. Let this market correct. I shouldn't say correct. Just let it consolidate, back and fill, digest these big gains, and we're going to be fine. The market's going to be fine, I believe. Anyway, at mcstockcharts.com, we never give up.